Hey guys, on this episode, we chatted with Cliff from CKM Sports. We talked about hockey, player development, and analytics for sports. We thought these were the most valuable parts of the conversation. The link for the podcast is in the description.
Oh, that's cool. So how'd you get into it?
I played when I was younger. I was very competitive. I was actually better at roller hockey than I was ice hockey. So I ended up having an opportunity to play pro in New Zealand.
Yeah.
So I played pro, did that, won a national championship.
Wait a minute,
there.
New Zealand had a hockey team?
Yeah, roller hockey.
Roller hockey team, okay.
Oh yeah, it was competitive league, teams all over the country. Got back, finished my degree in psychology from Simon Fraser University. Met my now wife during that time and started CKM Sports in my senior year at SFU. Went from university to obviously trying to run a business and
sports psychology is he was going on the players' heads and then into
from a psychological standpoint, what I really realized early on is a lot of the agents and agencies weren't really providing more than just placement. So they weren't, listening to the players. They weren't looking at the players and trying to understand how that player thinks or how you can maximize that player from not only from a mental standpoint, but nutrition, academics, data, obviously.
If you look back on these agents, been in business 25, 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
There's a lot of difference.
The CAs, the JP Berries of the world.
Yes,
yeah.
there's a big difference between how they used to do it compared to what the market is today. And I think that the biggest issue, and I'm talking just strictly from NFL right now, is a lot of the owners don't see eye to eye with a lot of the players because, look, a lot of those players can be their grandkids or sometimes even great-grandkids. They just don't understand that today in a social market, in a gaming market, they don't really want to go out and talk to people. They just want to, be on the phone, even though they're communicating on the phone and they're gaming that way and they're doing stories and things. And I think they just don't get that. Is that changing on the sports side too?
Yeah, I mean, at the professional level, it's largely controlled by the unions. So what you're seeing is the league union, obviously the owners, and the player unions. Those are completely different kind of perspectives.
Yeah.
And age has a huge part of that. Whether it's a younger version of an agent supporting those players, or the players themselves arguing and putting demands and kind of having that each team would have a representative that is a player. So those representatives, you're right, are 20, maybe even 30 years younger than the owners that are trying to negotiate against them. Yeah. So that's why you're seeing, obviously lockouts. That's why you're seeing actions through media, through advertising. Yeah, I mean, everyone's trying to pull the leverage they can, and for a younger demographic, it's largely social media. It's branding. It's the next thing you may see is sponsorships, and you look at Twitch, right? You brought it up earlier. With esports, Twitch has really been a significant, growing competitive advantage.
It's a massive platform that nobody else has.
Exactly. So who's to say there isn't a Twitch for soccer? Yeah. Who's to say there isn't going to be a Twitch for European basketball or football, the NFL, right? And for us, for example, last semester we did a data analytics project where we had a stats class study the performance of defensemen in the NHL compared to their salary, and try to produce a predictive model where you could take a player's production to produce what their salary should be. So things like that where, I'm an agent, I run an agency, but it's very important where I can know, or I should know, what an expectation of performance and salary expectation should be. Largely those predictive models and things like that haven't really been done yet. So that's really when I talk about kind of like progression, and it's about machine learning. Yeah. It's about predictive models. It's about doing gaining more knowledge than they historically have. nice. I don't know, if we brought someone like you on with me, it would be a lot of shots of me in my office. or on a plane, or.
That's what I thought. Like, this is gonna be boring. I'm gonna be sitting in front of the computer just doing mortgage stuff, and this guy's recording me. Like, what? And then other things started happening, right? We started meeting people, and somebody like you, man. Like, no, because you're always changing, because it's here, then you look at analytic, then you're at probably the ice rink.
In October, I was in Europe for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Meeting with European clubs and European clients. So don't get me wrong, and I mean, next week I'm flying to Toronto to meet a client from Norway who's flying in to try out with, or to skate with, OHL teams.
Yeah.
Like when I think about it, there probably is opportunities for that. It's just and you can imagine it's a huge commitment.
Yeah, for sure is. But I think this thing is going to get bigger and bigger.
It's funny, I agree. In my industry, the top agents in the world like secrecy.
Yeah.
And they use secrecy for their benefit.
Yeah.
I'm the other side of that spectrum.
That's where you're going to win, brother. That's why you're going to win.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm very...
Because same thing on commercial mortgages, commercial real estate. Same thing, like these top brokers all around the country, all around the world. Everything just hide. Shh, keep it quiet. We don't want everyone to know our secrets. Guess what? Give your secrets out. It's up to that person to execute on those secrets.
Well, there's that, but they also don't want people to know what they look like. They don't. Some agencies, they don't even have the name of the head agent on their website. Like,
why?
Yeah, it can be positive. It's that's what I mean by secrecy is they don't want to be able to go to a rink and people know who they are and be able to ask them questions. They want to be able to go to the rink in secrecy and not. So there's that aspect.
Okay, you got that.
Yeah, like we were saying earlier, I think there's a big change coming. Agents, or younger agents like myself, are using social media more and are more open to, whether it's the client or other people in general within the hockey industry, knowing who they are, to the point where, like, obviously I deal with teams and GMs and coaches as much as I do with players. So the relationship I have with them is almost as good as I do with my own clients. Yeah. I don't think historically that's been the case because of the use of secrecy, to the point where coaches don't even know who the agent is, or GMs don't know who the agent is. So, and I think that's definitely changing. Yeah, they're passionate, and it's almost, I would say, those 10 to 14 years old, kind of that window of time, that is when they are most passionate. Because in their mind, their kids are still kids and they're largely defenseless, and so you're going to see guys trying to jump over the board.
Well, I would be one of those parents. He's like, fuck!
Yeah, I mean, the only tough part with that level of emotion is the car rides home, right? It's just, I think some leagues I know are giving parents, the manual, right? Like, this is what you don't say on the car ride home after a loss.
Is that weakening kids?
Weakening kids?
Yeah.
No. No. I'm a strong believer of, a kid's, number one, is passion related to a sport. His grit, his toughness is largely related to the home culture. So, how structured maybe a family environment is, or how loving a family environment is. I think without that, you're getting, a low amount of grit within that personality of the player. I don't think that, not being extremely hard on an athlete at a young age would limit grit. I do parallel to, how that kid's brought up. How, does that family have the structure and love to kind of show discipline, right? And show that, the kid there's going to be challenges.
Yeah.
But, no matter what, when you want to do something that's hard, there's going to be challenges, and it's not always going to be fun.
That's the one thing I love about the business of sports. It just goes hand in hand. And I remember when I was younger, running, somebody beats me, and I'd come home, I'm so mad at myself. I'm squatting for the next like 3 weeks straight, like 100, and I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna wipe this kid out again. Same thing with business. I lose something, like why?
Yeah.
And then go back and adjust and figure it out and go back. And but you're seeing that happening now.
Very much so.
With coaches there, supporting, and parents are supporting, and everything else.
Yeah, and I think the sport, and specifically hockey, has gotten so competitive that the only kids that last are the kids that have that mentality.
We were talking a little while ago. The players get drafted. They get scouted. They go to college. They play there, and then from there they go to major leagues.
Yeah.
Hockey is different, or is it changing now? Where actually you have these bigger schools that are going to be scouting these players, playing there, giving them the degree, and then moving to the league.
Yeah. So 33% of the NHL is from the NCAA.
Okay. What was that before? Like 10 years ago?
It would have been the CHL, the Canadian Hockey League, which consists of the Western Hockey League, the QMJHL, and the Ontario Hockey League, the OHL.
Yeah.
So those numbers are going down. 41% of NHL draft picks were Europeans last year. 41%.
Wow.
So that puts pressure against the CHL. So like the Western Hockey League, for the first time in history, there was more NHL draft picks out of the USHL, which is the American Junior A Hockey League, which goes to college, than the Western Hockey League. So for the first time, there was more NHL draft picks that are going the college route versus the Western Hockey League. So what you're really seeing here is schools like one of the best programs, University of North Dakota, just committed to an 03, so a 15-year-old player out of Alberta. So you're having some of the top colleges for hockey in the world commit to kids that are 15 years old to compete against the CHL. So that kid will be 15. He'll commit to University of North Dakota. He'll play junior hockey. He'll probably start in that club when he's 18 or 19. And he'll most likely be drafted while he's playing junior to an NHL team. Then he'll start on that team when he's 22 or 23. So he'll sign an entry-level contract out of college in the NHL and start playing when he's 22 or 23.
Is that a good thing?
Yeah, I think so. Some players, for example, if you go major junior, you have to be ready to play in the NHL or the American Hockey League by 21. But if you go college, you have until you're largely 22 or 23, maybe even later, 24, 25. The extra development years are significant in terms of injury prevention, just being ready for the pace of the NHL, the speed of the NHL. I do think it's a good thing.
Nice. We good?
Yeah.
All right. Cliff, thanks, buddy, man.
You bet. Hopefully I can, provide some interesting content for you guys.
100%, man.